Alo elelei, talofa lava, Nissan Bula Vinaka, and welcome to Rugby World Cup on Island, the show that's all about the three smallest nations competing in France. Of course, that's Fiji, Samoa and Tonga. Joining me in this episode, of course, my co-host. He was always one of the coolest looking players on the field. He put the beast into beast mode, absolutely devastating on the wing. Manu Samoa legend Tuilangi Alistana Tuilangi.
Talofa lava.
And we're delighted to have joining us the most capped Black Fern in history, the first to 50 appearances. She's played 5 World Cups, 4 as a World Cup winner, and the last 2 as captain. Just recently, she's been elected as the first woman to be president of Auckland Rugby. And when she's not doing that, she's catching crooks as a detective in Auckland with the New Zealand Police. Please welcome Sayuli Fio Fa'amausili.
Yeah, talofa lava.
And we're joined by who she succeeded as president, a legend of Auckland Rugby with 155 caps for the Blue and Whites, 5th equal with Sean Fitzpatrick, by the way. Scored 73 tries, the 4th most in their history, 48 games for the Blues and 10 caps for the All Blacks. His son's a pretty good player too. He's in France with the team. Please welcome Savea Tama Ironi Clark.
Malolele, talofa lava.
Great to have you guys on Island. How's it been?
Yeah.
It's been good, guys.
It's been awesome. We got in on Saturday afternoon and everything's been a go for us. So we're just making sure we tick everything off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just enjoy each other's company.
That's
Nice.
right. It is good always to come back. There's always that reconnection of your roots when you come back to the, to your home, to your ancestors. So it's great to be back.
Beautiful. And of course, we just discovered that you're from the same village in Savai'i. You have a common village.
Yes, the famous village.
The famous village.
Famous village of Whangapua.
Yes.
Beautiful. Now later in the show we will be previewing the final round of pool games before they get to the business end of the World Cup. But first, let's begin by briefly recapping the action from week 4. Let's start with Tonga versus South Africa in Marseille, a stadium that could hold 2/3 of the population of Tonga. Tuilangi, you've been in many battles against the Tongan boys. They really look like they showed up for this one.
Yes, I'm really proud of the Tongan boys. The performance they put on, they put everything there. They leave everything there. As we talked about last week, it's going to be a massive challenge for them, but they left everything.
Yeah. There's good urgency in that game. In South Africa, they've had so many games under their belts, and Tonga just coming together, class players, but they just need more games just to gel. And so, as we can see, they're building, and I don't want the World Cup to end, but they're going out strong.
It always happens, Our teams take the first 2 or 3 games to find their groove, and they're just finding it.
But I think it comes back to even before that, to the World Cup, the opportunity for our teams to be able to come together a lot earlier, to have more tests so they can play as well.
Tests against Tier 1 nations.
Absolutely, because obviously then it really raises their standards. So by the time they do get to a World Cup, they're ready to play right from game 1. So.
Yeah. And now to Samoa versus Japan. A thrilling game, has to be said. Ends with disappointment for Samoa's many fans around the world. And it looks like this ends their chances of making the quarterfinals. Tuilangi, your thoughts?
I should just mention everybody was disappointed. I'm disappointed. And I'm not disappointed because we lost the game. I'm disappointed because we keep doing the same mistakes every week. By giving away those soft penalties, soft yellow cards, that cost us the game. We cannot afford to play 14 or 13 against a good Japanese team. They're gonna punish us.
Yeah.
That's disappointing me. But apart from that, they're doing some good rugby. They were playing some good rugby. The forwards were doing well. The lineouts, the scrum. But again, disappointed with the backs.
Yeah.
The forwards did the hard work. And look back, get back there. And
I know the feeling.
And then
I know the feelings of it being a forward and then the backs keep dropping the ball. But it's like simple errors that can be fixed. Our ball handling, our catch and pass. We're trying to do all these fancy passes when we should just stick to catch and pass. Those are the little things that will win us a game.
You've been impressed with the forwards?
I have been impressed with the forwards. I've been watching them from their first game against Chile. They're more. Their line out, their set pieces are solid. They're setting the platform right for the team. But then it's just when it gets to the back, everyone's indecisive and unsure what to do. And then it gets the forwards doing just one-off runners. And that really puts pressure on a team because their game plan goes out the window. But I'm really been impressed with the forwards. Keep it on the forwards. Keep it on the forwards.
You know, Oscar, it just remind me of when we are playing. You know, the forwards were doing well, and then these boys doing big scrums against big teams. All they want to do is stand up, look forward.
Yeah.
Don't look back. And then when they look back, you can hear the word.
You can hear the. Yeah.
You can hear from
If looks could kill.
Exactly. And we are seeing at this Rugby World Cup, yellow cards, red cards are really, really hurting our teams. And I think that's the one thing. And we touched on the discipline part as well. But I just wonder, we touched on the backs, yeah. I think it's backs, Tuilangi, when we do mess up every once in a while with England back in the day, and we do hit the forwards. But I think also too, maybe I've thought about and been watching just the style of play, the style of the game, the patterns that we're playing today is a lot more fixed around the structures. And I mean, we're people of flair. So the opportunity to be able to use our backs, the opportunity to use them a lot more, I think that's something that we really got to think about in terms of the game, going back to those days of certainly seeing backs.
So that was always the magic that made World Rugby excited about
and
Island
especially
rugby.
when our Island rugby teams, when they really start to throw the ball around, gosh, and we get it to our dangerous wingers, man, and we see tries.
Yeah, we're just putting pressure on ourselves. We're making it hard for us to get out of our own territory or out, and getting into other teams' territory, but putting pressure on ourselves, just stick to our basic, we know we're good up front. We know we're good, just waiting until the time is right to send it out wide. We're going a second too early and we're putting pressure on ourselves. Yeah.
Well, it feels like Fiji seem to have found that balance. Let's talk about their game against Georgia. Tuilangi, it was a lot closer than what people were expecting, huh?
Yes, of course. As we spoke last week, it's no easy game in this competition. Georgia came out, they wanted to win. And I think the Fijian boys were a bit quiet this game. They're not playing their normal like when they used to play against the Australian. But I think they will keep everything like, patience, and all they need to do is to win.
Yeah.
That's all they want to do. But hopefully next week, because the competition is getting harder and harder.
Yeah.
So hopefully they will look back at this game and build from it.
They're so composed, aren't they? Seoli, at half-time, with 9-0 down, I thought, uh-oh, but Fiji showing that they have a few different ways to win.
Yes, and they've been together for a while too. I mean, you've got the good building up from Drua Rugby, and these guys have got so much passion for their game, and you see that from their singing through to their war dance, through to this national anthem and into the game. They're all one. So they're a team that's like unison. So if one, for example, if one kicks the ball, not only two chasers, the whole team are chasers. So you've got the forwards and the backs that are built the same.
I can't tell which are the forwards and which are the backs. The captain as a centre, Savea Tama, you must be liking the inspirational captain, Waisia Nayatha level. That beautiful try he scored in the corner. What do you think of him?
He's amazing. I mean, he's obviously one of those players. He's playing at the top of his game, but it's also it's inspiring to your players when your captain's at the top of his game. When your captain is doing the damage, and I think really holding his own at the top, it really does inspire the rest of the team, and that's important. It's important in the game. But obviously, it's always pleasing when it's a centre as well. But man, he is doing the damage, and it's really great to see too.
Well, let's take a look at the points tables team with Pool A for come on, I can't believe it. Look, France looking imperious. New Zealand really making a statement there, with their last game. Italy thought they were a show, but next to Pool B, South Africa doing what they had to do. They've finished their pool games now. And I tell you what, Scotland versus Ireland is going to be interesting because everyone's talking about Ireland making the quarters, but I think Scotland might be planning an ambush. And Tonga, Romania, they're going to enjoy that one.
Well, if there's ever a moment when you need an ambush, I mean, this is it at a Rugby World Cup to get into the quarters.
Yeah.
Scotland. Wow.
I think Scotland will be just planning something special. And let's go to Pool C. And there you go. Australia still have a sniff. Fiji could have iced it if they'd scored a bonus point, but they didn't, which still gives a bit of hope for Australia that Portugal will beat Fiji. I can't see that happening, just quietly. But we'll talk about that in the second half of the show. And finally to Pool D for Don't Dream It's Over. But I think it might be, and Samoa will be disappointed with their result, but they've got a very big game coming up against England. England are already through, and it seems like a shootout between Argentina and Japan. And the cards were pretty crazy this weekend. Let's go straight to the cards table. Man, it got a bit silly, I thought, but Namibia topping that table, and Samoa just behind them now with 4 yellows. Of course, we touched on that earlier. Portugal up there for their first World Cup. They're making an appearance. New Zealand, you have to say, have really kept their tight since that opening game to Will Jordan. The refs are going crazy, aren't they? Because is this how it's going to be from now on? Because we know rugby's a rough and dangerous game, and there are collisions, there are knocks, but are they doing this just for the World Cup, or will it be like this always from now on?
It's frustrating, Oscar, because I watched the South African and Tonga game. The same incident that happened against England and
In the opening game against
Chile.
Chile.
It's a red card for me.
You're talking about when fullbacks
when Siale Piatau coming down from catching the ball. Ibanez was standing, and he hit the face hit the shoulder of Ibanez. Same thing happened to Curry. He was waiting down, and the player comes straight to his face. That's a red card, and this is just a penalty. So it's confusing us. It's confusing the game. I don't understand which one is the red card, which one is the yellow card, which one is just the penalty.
It seems to depend on which team you play for.
It depends.
But it was played in a great spirit, I thought, Tonga versus South Africa. We saw the players praying together. And of course, praying is a favourite activity in the Pacific. Our guest, Savea Tama, like his close friend Sir Michael Jones on the field, always believed it was better to give than to receive.
Amen.
And of course, with Savea Tama coming back to his birthland, it was a chance for him to reconnect with his village and also his village church. So let's take a look.
Right here where we are in the beautiful village of Vaiala, which is one of the stronger rugby teams here in Samoa, together against Mota'a, back in the day certainly. But this is the beautiful place of Vaiala where I was born and spent a couple of years of my life before heading over to New Zealand. There's always that sense coming back to Samoa, coming back to our roots. There's that reconnection, that sense of identity, that whaasino manga, being connected also to your heritage. I think that's a really important part of moving forward as Pasifika, is always remembering where you truly come from, who you are, and the values that you were raised with, that you maintain those. We see right across the world, where the diaspora of Pasifika, and in particular too for Samoans, that faith is an important element of who we are, that makeup of who we are. It's our point of difference living in the Western world. And so coming here, always making sure that if I'm here on a weekend or, then I'm always coming back to church, always coming back to where my parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, and where they came to church. And so it is that sense again of identities and spirituality has always been a strength of us as Pasifika peoples. And so it's something that's very, very important that we hold on to because it's eternal.
Special, for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Always coming back. I think that's the really important thing. It's that reconnection, as we said right at the beginning of the show, and that it's where you come from. It's who you are.
All right, it's preview time, and let's start with Tonga versus Romania, their final pool game. Romania, first time back at the World Cup since 2007. They'll want to sign off with a win. Both teams have learned a lot through being pummeled by the 3 Tier 1 nations in their pool. Both will want to let loose. What are you predicting for this one?
I'm going for the Tongan boys, Tongan brothers. They're gonna finish it their campaign before big W, big win.
It'd be good for them to build on the things they did right in their last game.
Oh, absolutely. They've got nothing to lose, so they've got to go out and fight this war against Romania. So they're going to come out, finish with a bang.
Yeah, excited.
Absolutely agree. I want to see Tonga to finish on a high, finish their Rugby World Cup on a high, and get the W as well. And I think that's going to be the I would hope that then from there it would be really the springboard towards the next World Cup.
Right. Because it seems like we start again every 4 years with a new team. Because, as you mentioned, we don't get those chances to come against Tier 1 nations. Is the answer making those Tier 1 nations tour the islands?
That will be ideal. That will be great for the Pacific to get those Tier 1 nations in there. But we all know it all comes down to coin as well, to money. So I'm hoping that after seeing this World Cup, we need the resources, we need games. And I'm hoping that these teams will put their hands up, saying, yep, we're going to go to the islands and play these countries, because that's where they're getting all their players as well. Yeah. So they've got to give back and take. And
that's right. I mean, Steve Hansen said it before when the All Blacks came to Samoa, and he said that obviously the acknowledgement of our Pacific players, the Samoan boys, that it was an acknowledgement that, look, you know, they contribute to the New Zealand game for so long, and globally as well. So it was a way, in essence, that New Zealand rugby were going to give and be able to have this game here in Samoa. They knew they were going to take a loss, obviously, but I think what was really more important was the relationship. It was really key there.
What's it like, Tuilangi, when the big, you know, I think we've seen a few teams come down here. What's it like here when the big teams come down?
You know, all the peoples, because it's the first time they're going to watch this, like when the All Blacks game. But they want to see a team like England, Australia,
Wales.
You know, Wales was they were there before.
That's right.
Yes, but especially.
So Wales have come.
Yes, twice, and then we beat them twice.
And they haven't come back.
And then we sent them back. Yeah, but it's really amazing if these Tier 1 teams come to Samoa, and it's going to be a high development rugby and atmosphere.
And their experience, because the way the island people support rugby, it's next level.
Hey. And it's a wonderful way for our people to see faces that they only see on TV, you know, from different countries. And I mean, look at what it did when the All Blacks came here. Imagine what it does when other teams will come here as well. And they've got Pacific boys in their teams as well.
Yes. Our next game that we're going to look at is Fiji versus Portugal. This is a chance for Fiji to finally cement their place in the quarterfinals. I think they would have learned a lesson from the Georgia game, Sauli? How do you think they'll approach this one?
I think they're just going to go from the start. I mean, they didn't have a good first half in their last game, so I think they're going to, you know, from the start they're going to probably kick down to the area and just play there. I mean, we know what the Fijians can do. We know what flair they have. You know, they're called the Flying Fijians for a reason, and because they can pull everything out of the hat. So from the get-go, you'll be surprised at how much points that these guys have put on this team.
Really?
I'll say 50 plus.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think, Tuilangi?
I think the Fijian boys is going to finish it well, you know, because it's a must win for them to secure their place in the quarters. Their place in quarterfinal. They're going to give it all, you know, and it's going to be another good game. It's Fijian.
Absolutely agree. I mean, obviously the quarters are looming, so they want to be able to, players that want to obviously push their claims to get into to play the quarters as well, and that for that team is going to be important. But I think also too, just for the team themselves, just for Fiji, that confidence going into the quarterfinals is going to be really important. So they're going to really want to certainly send a message as well. So they want to finish this part of the competition well.
And Portugal. Good luck. Good luck. But, you know, I think the same thing that we say about Tier 2 nations needing that exposure, teams like Portugal, Romania, Uruguay, they need tougher rugby on a regular basis too, in order to get better.
Yes. Don't get it wrong. They play some good rugby at this tournament. They put some good show. They pushed the Tier 1 team.
That's right.
Yes, they were playing well.
Every week we remember a Pacific hero who has passed from this life but will never pass from the hearts and minds of those who love them and who watch them play. This week we remember Tongan international and rugby broadcaster Willie Li. Severe?
Very dear friend. We've played together since we were high school. We were he was at the Kelston Boys, and I was at the great school of Henderson High.
The mighty school of Henderson High.
And so there again, and went on from there. We just kept going through secondary schools up through our debuts for Auckland Rugby. And he was a great guy. He was a team man, and that was the wonderful thing about it. He was a trendsetter. And he's the sort of guy,
He's
you know,
a styly guy.
A styly guy. He'd have his robe, he'd have his slippers. He's that sort of guy later on, but yet at the same time he was fierce on the field, and that's what I really appreciated. We trust as rugby players to go on the field with people that you know that you can go to battle with. You can trust them, and Willie was certainly one of those sort of players.
Yeah. Sayuli.
Yeah. A great man. I had the privilege of doing an interview with him, and so he was wearing his Tongan blazer and I was wearing my Samoan rugby jersey. This was for the World Cup that was in New Zealand. So we had a good chat, but what I remember from Willie is that he was the first person that actually pronounced my name correct on TV.
Yeah.
Every time I get called different names, but then he was the first one that pronounced my name properly, so yeah, always be remembered.
He grew up in West Auckland from the rugby nursery that is Kelston Boys, where he was head prefect. He was a New Zealand Colt, and he played all the pool games for Tonga at the Rugby World Cup in '95. Post-rugby career, he had a huge impact as one of the first Pacific broadcasters in the international rugby scene. For the first time, we heard our players' names being pronounced correctly, and you don't know how much that means to us as people. One of the loveliest gentlemen you would meet on the rugby circuit. This week, for In Memoriam, we remember Willie Li.
The New Zealand loose for North Harbour, and Willie Li is locking the scrum. That's a change. Ridden down by the French, but picked up but taken on by Willie Li. Away to Bunyo Buna. Look at the Tongans go. Sadoni into Mac. Oh, a big hit by Willie Li. That was a great tackle.
It's time now for our final game to preview. It's a biggie. It's a chance for Samoa to go out with a statement about what this team is capable of. Samoa versus England. Tuilangi, what are you expecting?
I want to see the flair of our Manu Samoa. They haven't shown it yet, but we need to use our physical game. We're not using our physical players in these last two games, and be disciplined. We beat those, like I mentioned before, there are silly penalties. I'm not sure if it's silly or it's stupid. That costs us the game. You cannot play 12 or 13 players against this team going into the England game. And play with some confidence. Play with some confidence. Don't
hold back.
Yeah, don't just go there. Just go with some confidence, because show some respect with that jersey you're wearing. Because it's not yours. You just borrowing it. Because that jersey means a lot from all the legends that play the game. If that jersey means a lot to you, show it. Show it this game.
That's the challenge. That's the challenge that Tuilangi's laid down. Sayuli.
Yeah, I really want them to come out after the Sivatol and put it out and put a statement from the get-go. The last few games, they've only started playing in the second half, and then the last game was too late to come back. So we need to start from the get-go, and keep it in the forwards, and just patience. Keep it in the forwards. If it's going forward, then spin it out to your backs. Just a simple catch and pass.
Yeah, I certainly echo both Sayuli and Tuilangi, but certainly that challenge Tuilangi just put there as well. I said with passion, and I think that's the thing, discipline, all the other key things that our panelists have said, but also too the passion is really, that's what I want to see of our Manu. Played with discipline, played with the flair and the skills that we know that the Manu plays with, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, when we watch and we know that they gave it their all and they played with discipline, they played and they did everything that they've been blessed and be able to do, that's when we look and we say, yep, Malia Mate Va'ai, you know, and I think that's what we want to see.
Yes.
So I think that's what I'm looking forward to see from our Manu Samoa.
And they show what they're capable of when they do pull the trigger.
Of course, yeah. When they do want to play, and that's when they play. But if they stop going the other way, you know, lose our confidence and doing silly mistakes, and it's not our club rugby we're playing.
No.
Yeah.
We are playing international rugby. Yeah. You have to be 100% everything you do. Because you don't want to let your team down. You don't want to let your brothers down. That your brothers doing the hard work, and you drop the ball, you gave away penalties, you got yellow card, you go have your coffee for 10 minutes, while your brothers are fighting on the field. You know, those kind of little things. You need to be 100%. Your mindset going in this game, going to win. You're going to win.
You've got to play every game like it's a final. And this is a World Cup. And every game is 80 minutes. It's not a 40-minute game. There's no resting. The only time you're going to rest is when you come off that field knowing you put everything on that field. And I echo what Tulangi's saying is that, you know, the boys have got to step up. They've got to own it. They've got to own the jersey that they're wearing. Yeah.
So Yuli said they should keep it in the forwards, muscle it up. Tuilangi's also saying play the physical game. If it's working, stick with it. What do you think?
Well, certainly, yes, of course, because the backs can't operate if our forwards are not doing the job up front, as we all know.
But they are doing their job. They are doing their job.
That's
We
right.
are not doing our job.
But when we're not doing our job, that's absolutely right. But I think this weekend, you know, what a beautiful way to be able to again, it's for me, it's not about the score, man. It's about how we play the game with that passion, with that discipline. Man, if we can win, if we get the win, great. But I think what's more important for me is watching a game where you see our players really giving it back for their nation, for the coaches and the management, for all of them, but especially for each other, as Tuilangi beautifully had said. So I think that's what I want to see from our team.
That's our show. Thank you so much to our special panel of experts for coming on, honouring us with your presence and your immense knowledge of the game and your mana as well. Thank you. It's been so nice having you.
Say.
Thank you for watching. Enjoy the final round of pool play. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you next week for Rugby World Cup on Island from right here in beautiful Samoa.